And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, July 9th. Temperatures outside hugging 80 degrees. A few clouds in the FM area, but we'll see more sunshine as we head throughout the afternoon as clearing moves in from the west. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And we've got a hot one out there coming in for tomorrow. Today, not too bad. We'll top out today into the mid-80s. Across much of the area with south winds, a little breezy, about 10 to 20 or so. Tonight we'll see some thunder showers roll in towards the midnight hour as we drop down to a low in the mid to upper 60s. And then as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be a hot and sticky one with highs tomorrow in the low to mid 90s with heat index readings approaching 100. And then a cold front will approach tomorrow night. That will trigger off some storms after midnight tomorrow night. So for all the fairgoers, big concert out at the fairgrounds tomorrow night, and that's should be okay. And then Friday, we'll see scattered showers and thunder showers in the morning, and then cooler, breezy conditions for the afternoon with temps in the 70s. And then the weekend looks great with highs in the low to mid 80s. So kind of a little something for everybody, Bridgette. We've got 70s, 80s, 90s, rain, storms, and nice dry weather, too.
Well, that's exactly right. And, this is the time of the year where it's not only wild weather fairs, but auction sales. And that brings in our first guest today. And that is Alex Kerr with Kerr Auction. Alex is calling us from Mount Sterling, Illinois, but he's going to be in our neighborhood pretty quick. So, Alex, you've got an auction next Monday, don't you? I think we have Alex. Do we have his audio? Is Addison checking?
No, Alex. No, all right.
Huh.
I guess no
Thought we
Alex.
had him there. Okay, I thought we had him.
That's okay. Hey, you know what, Bridgette?
Okay,
We can sit.
we'll get him back.
We can fill some time here. We can fill some time.
Well, there's plenty of things for us to talk about.
That's
There's
right.
never a dull moment here.
Well,
No doubt.
and so next week, I just took a look at some of our extended models, and for people that are sick of the heat, next week. Either looks like Tuesday morning, might be Monday morning, but it looks more like Tuesday morning. Parts of the Northern Valley, the far Northern Valley, northwest Minnesota, could dip into the upper 30s for morning lows. Man, that seems a little early for that. But we'll rebound right after that. But I saw that when I came into work this morning. I said, holy cow, it's a little bit on the early side to see temps like that. But it'll feel refreshing for some.
Quite the sleeping weather for many. Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
man, no doubt. No doubt.
Hey, don't forget that in the next day or two, if you are thinking about getting some unused pesticides over to Project SafeSend, here is your chance. The collection sites starting tomorrow is Devil's Lake, Friday is Rugby, Monday in Minot, Tuesday in Tioga. Boy, I see a theme there. And those sites again are open from 8 until noon. They are at the North Dakota DOT facilities in each of those communities. If you have unused partial herbicides that you want to get rid of, actually anything, herbicide, insecticide, fungicide, you certainly can. No used oils, no antifreeze, paint, that type of thing. This is strictly for those products that are in the pesticide category. If you have questions and you're not sure what you should be bringing, or maybe you're afraid you've got some leaky jugs, you can contact North Dakota Department of Ag, and they will help you out by answering your questions and making sure to provide bags and boxes for those leaky items so we can get rid of those. All right, as we were saying, it is the season for fairs, rough weather, but auction sales. And we have with us Alex Kerr. Alex is from Mount Sterling, Illinois. He's Kerr Auction Service. And hey, Alex, you've got a sale in our neck of the woods next week.
Yep, we're in Adrian, Minnesota.
Adrian, Minnesota. Okay, that is on July 14th. That's on Monday. Is that an in-person or a online auction only?
It is both. So we'll have bid in line, and you will have a large crowd with their supplying free pancakes in the morning and free ribeye sandwiches in the afternoon.
Oh, wow. So we're talking lunch is being served, the whole 9 yards is happening. We got a couple of rings going on. And um, is this a consignment sale? I don't remember if I asked you that question before we got started.
So we did this sale on March 4th. We did a sale there where we were virtual only, and we only sold stuff for Hopeness Farms. We came
Okay.
back up there this time, and we've got a complete estate. One of their neighbors died, and we've got their stuff in there. We've got a really nice that Randy Bunninger Auction brought into us. Farm retirement, real low hour local combine. We've got a lot of neighbors have just general stuff, and then we've got some guys that are trying to trade equipment, and maybe instead of trading it to a dealership and then watching them auction it, they're just chose to bring it in there and let us sell it, and then they go take the cash and go buy whatever they want.
Well, this is going to be a big deal. It's 2 rings. We're starting on Monday, July 14th at 9 a.m. There's a lot happening on this sale. Do you have all the pictures of what's available as far as equipment on the website, Alex, or can folks kind of preview that from you?
Yeah. So if you go to kerauction.com
Mm-hmm.
and click on, I think they're separated. So you'd have to click on ring 1 or ring 2. More of the higher dollar stuff is in ring 1, and
Okay.
more of the livestock and fence, skid steer attachments, that stuff is in ring 2.
Oh, there's
They
a
will
whole
try
lot of
two
stuff. When you say,
trucks.
okay, 2 trucks. Yep.
They'll try to keep the 2 trucks side by side so you don't have to walk back and forth across the lot. Be able to part you should be able to hear. But in ring 1, walk over to ring 2, bid on something there, and walk right back to 1 without missing much.
I like how that works because I don't want to miss much if I'm already hanging out at an auction. There's plenty to keep my attention.
Yeah. So
So,
those first 2, as you're scrolling by, are the
uh-huh.
Adrian, Minnesota ones.
Now, you
That's
also
actually
have
in
a
North
couple.
Dakota.
Yeah, if Alex scrolls, excuse me, if Addison, there's too many A's today, scrolls back up, there is one that's coming up for North Dakota. Can you explain what that sale is about? Because it's titled a little differently than I would have expected.
So that sale is geared strictly for export equipment, focused on the foreign buyer. We're to the point in the U.S. that our market is shifting to where there just isn't buyers for certain stuff after it gets a certain age. Small farmers don't want big wore out old stuff, and it needs to go somewhere. The
Okay.
company that puts that stuff in containers is based out of Hinkinson, North Dakota. And I was looking for something we could offer that was than any other. And so we partnered with them to do that sale where it is dealerships bring in the stuff that looks like it should go out of the country.
Uh-huh.
It's also open to the U.S. buyer. So if some strange thing happens and corn goes from $4 to $7 in the next roughly month, we'd be happy for it to all stay there, and we'll just turn around and load it all back out. But it's highly doubtful.
Okay. So hold on. For this August 14th sale, as I'm looking at this, it's going to be in person in Hankinson from the looks of things, right?
That is the current plan. It's also
Wow.
it's a little different. It's not like going to have the rows of stuff. It'll probably be more of a hybrid to where it's like a virtual. And there's also a drop yard here in Timewell, Illinois, for stuff that doesn't make sense to truck up there because some of it may be big enough it's going to go straight to port in Galveston, Texas.
So, do you find yourself doing more of these specialized sales than ever before, Alex?
Well, we're relatively new to the auction business, so everything we do is something we haven't done a lot of before. But the we did a livestock equipment sale last December, and we sold some like kind stuff on a general assignment sale that was also on it, and it brought a lot more. And you watch like some major auction companies will do construction equipment sales. Whenever you can put a lot of stuff together of like kind, a guy is more likely to get on an airplane, travel across the country, and look at it. And
Sure.
if you just have one, we'll say, excavator on a sale filled with almost nothing but farm machinery, you might do okay and you might not. But if you've got a
So,
bunch of
Alex,
it, it's a good chance
yep.
somebody's going to come look at it.
So, Alex, in our last minute together or so, um, I know that you have a bidding app. So folks are going to want to go to their app store and download the Cur Auction app so that they can do their bidding from wherever they are. And there is less of a chance to incur fees by doing that. Well, any other points you want to make sure to people hear and be aware of for the upcoming sales?
So you don't have to have the app to
Mm-hmm.
bid for free, but it's the
Okay.
easiest way to. If you download the app on your phone, it's always with you. We are zero buyer penalty. A lot of companies call it a premium. A premium is something you win at a state fair with a blue ribbon, not because you were willing to pay more than anybody else for something. So we are no buyer penalty. If you click the button and it says you paid 100,000, you write the check for 100,000.
Way easier on people. I like that. Okay. Alex, we're going to make sure to put a link
Yeah.
to your auction site on our website as well. And we will continue to hear how things are going at your sales because it's kind of fun to watch you guys expand and take on some very cool specialized sales in the region.
Yeah, it's been incredible how fast it's grown.
Thanks, Alex.
6
I
states and
appreciate it.
9 locations right here.
And a lot of miles. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the end of July. So, folks, we have a break coming up on us. When we return from the livestock updates, we will join our next guest, Mark Wagner with ND Estate Services. We have a great grocery giveaway qualifier, and we have a Weather Wednesday trivia question. We'll be back.
Hey, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, July 9th. And Bridgette, our guest, got scared and didn't show up today. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, maybe he's still got time. The clock is ticking for Mark Wagner with ND Estate Services to join us, kind of like the clock is going to be ticking for our great grocery giveaway qualifier.
And today's qualifier is Jim Griffin of West Fargo. Jim Griffin, you've got 9 minutes and 70 seconds to call. 701-293-9000 to become a qualifier for our great grocery giveaway. And we'll be doing that tomorrow out at Kingpin's. That's going to be a blast. Somebody gets, $10,000 in groceries for a year. And that's just amazing. I mean, whoever has a chance. And you can, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if your name wasn't drawn, you can still go down to Kingpin's tomorrow for last-minute registration. So be sure to join us down at Kingpin's tomorrow. I believe it starts right around 5 o'clock. So we'll be down there.
Well, hold on. I just got the agenda here. 4 o'clock, the cash bar opens, people.
Oh, it is. Oh, I just opened my email. 4 o'clock, cash bar opens. Yeah, sweet.
Yep.
Free pizza at 5:30.
Right.
Nice.
And Bonnie and James will both be there at 3 o'clock to start opening up potential more qualifiers. So folks need to really think about and plan for that 3 to 5 o'clock time frame, right?
No doubt. And what boy, somebody's going to walk away. $10,000 in groceries. So that's what comes down to like $833 a month, I believe it is. And this is great for a family. I mean, if a single person wins, it's good for them. They can hopefully give some to their neighbors, and that's a lot of food in a month. And that's $10,000 in your pocket. Basically, you could take a nice vacation with all the money you're saving on food.
It's huge. And okay, so if you have been a qualifier and you are awaiting the email details they're supposed to be coming to you, check your spam folders, because sometimes things get hung up in there. You should have it. And so, yeah, this is a big deal for tomorrow. You don't want to miss your invitation and not be there when needed, right? This is going to be great.
No doubt. And we're you know what? I'm feeling extra giveaway-ish today. Giveaway-ish.
Okay.
We've got weather trivia, and we're gonna do one this segment for a rain gauge, and we're gonna do one in the last segment too. So here's today's weather trivia, and again, this is for one of our heavy-duty National Weather Service approved rain gauges. So the fastest from Darter Plastics. So the fastest a raindrop can fall is about 23 miles an hour. That's a large raindrop. Okay.
I can outdrive that.
I can easily, no doubt. So with that large raindrop at 13,000 feet, which is about the height that these raindrops form, how long would it take for that raindrop to reach the surface? 701-293-9000. So the fastest a raindrop can fall is about 23 miles an hour. At 13,000 feet, that large raindrop, how long does it take to reach the surface?
Okay, the callers are going to light us up on the JLA insurance phone line. It's 701-293-9000. Dean's feeling giveaway-ish. He's got rain gauges from Darter Plastics he wants to share. I'm not going to answer the phones. That's up to you guys. But again,
we've
ready to go.
Yep, we've got a caller on line one. Caller, what's your name?
Yeah, Henry.
Hey, Henry. So what's your guess? How long does it take that raindrop at 13,000 feet to reach the surface?
7 minutes.
Wow, man. Are you a math major too? That's great.
No, I'm just guessing.
That's fantastic. That is correct. 7 minutes from 13,000 feet. A large raindrop falling at 23 miles an hour reaches the surface. So, Henry, congratulations. We'll put you on hold here, and Addison, our producer, will get all the information you need from him.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you bet. Boy, that didn't take long. I figured that'd stump a few, but wow.
It did not take Henry 10 or 7 minutes to call in. He beat the speed of a raindrop, but we are still waiting for our great grocery giveaway qualifier to call in as well.
That's right, Jim Griffin. Yep.
Yes.
Jim Griffin of West Fargo.
That Jim makes it.
If you know Jim, shoot him a text. Say, hey, you've only got a few minutes left here to call in. So Jim Griffin of West Fargo, got a few minutes left here to become a qualifier for tomorrow's grand prize giveaway.
Yep, you can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. And we also want to make sure that you don't forget that we have a news break happening. And when we do that, you can take the time, you multitaskers, you get on out there and do the fence check assessment that's on the techsupportfarm.com website. Make sure your cybersecurity is what it needs to be. You can do that again at techsupportfarm.com. We'll be back after the news. And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you to the folks over at Red River Retention Authority. Brian Feuder has been an awesome assistant to us with our Here We Grow project this year because the things that they do to mitigate flood control keep our field, well, in a good spot. We don't have wet feet on our wheat because nobody likes that. And then also to Gowan USA because they provide a tremendous lineup of fungicides, including Domark and Affiance, as well as Badge SC for wheat. These are pretty important this year because we are seeing the forecasting models for disease in fields going up, and especially white mold and so forth in our soybeans. So keep an eye on those. Dean, do you want to do your weather trivia? I mean, we had such an easy one the last time.
Yeah.
Or fast.
Well,
Not
see,
easy, but fast.
I thought that one would be a little more difficult. See, this next one, so we're going to give away another rain gauge. And, man, see, I was only planning on giving away one today because I figured somebody would not be able to get that first one. But it is what it is. So, okay.
Right.
So here's the next trivia question again, and this is to win one of our National Weather Service approved rain gauges by Darter Plastics. And the only thing we ask is if you win one of these, whenever we do get rainfall, if you could report that to us, that would be very helpful because then we pass that along to the National Weather Service as well. So today's question is, this type of weather event kills the most people every year. Which weather event is it? This type of weather event kills the most people every year. 701-293-9000 for your chance to win a wonderful heavy-duty Darter Plastic rain gauge. And wow, phones are lighting up. Holy moly.
Lighting up.
All right, caller,
Good.
line one. Can I get your name, please?
Kevin, connect.
Kevin, what is your guess?
Flooding.
No, that is not. Sorry, Kevin. All right, caller, line two. What's your name, please?
Hi, Arden.
Arden, what's your guess?
A blizzard.
That is not right, Arden. Sorry. Caller, line three. What's your name?
This is Justin.
Justin. This isn't.
Yep.
This isn't Storm, is it?
No,
it's
that's not him.
Okay, it sounded a little like him. I'm like, wait a minute, something's fishy here. Justin, what's your guess?
I'm gonna guess. Is it lightning?
No, it's not. No, sorry, Justin. All right, we've got. Let's go to line four. Line four. Can I get your name, caller?
That'd be Steve.
Steve, what is your guess?
Heat waves.
You are correct. That is correct. Extreme heat kills more people every year than any other weather event. I'm surprised nobody said tornadoes to throw that in there. But all right, we're going to put you on hold here. And Addison, our wonderful, talented producer, he'll get all the information from you. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Good guess. Good guess, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Since we're in the giveaway mood, just wanted to let folks know, too, in case you didn't see the post on our Facebook page today, we have some tickets for the North Dakota State Fair in Minot. And there's a chance for you to win those. I'm going to launch that tomorrow. It will be exclusively on the Weather and Ag Facebook page. There's a pair of tickets for Bailey Zimmerman on July 18th, Sawyer Brown on July 23rd, and I have several pair for Ian Munsick on July 19th. If you're headed to Minot, or you know someone who is, we've got pairs of tickets. I'm going to need you to be paying attention to the Facebook page tomorrow because that way you can start putting in your feedback, your guesses on how many bushels of wheat we're going to raise in our Here We Grow wheat field this year. And you have the chance to win tickets to State Fair concerts at the end of July in Minot, North Dakota. There's a lot going on today.
Yeah, there is. And Bridgette, I've got a question for you. So I sent you that picture yesterday of a farmer down in Nebraska. Out of the 50 years he's been farming, he's never seen corn that tall. How tall have you ever? What's the tallest corn that you've ever seen?
Well, looking at that picture that you sent me, so part of my question I have for that guy is, was it silage corn? Because that's a big deal.
Oh,
Right? Silage corn would make quite a bit of difference as far as height is concerned.
okay.
So that's maybe one thing. Yeah, to see silage corn hit 13, 14 feet, I don't think that's a surprise. I've been on some fields further south, fields you're looking at irrigation that get quite tall.
Interesting.
Pretty impressive.
Wow. Yeah. I saw that. My mouth dropped. I'm like, oh man, that had to be
Go corn.
Yeah. What do you think that had to be? What, 12 feet, 11 feet in that picture?
Probably, but again, let's find out if there's a way to check that story and find out if it is a field corn or if it's a silage variety. That would make a difference.
I will do
hybrid.
I'll do some digging, see if I can find that out for tomorrow. All right.
Because corn is king, and it's really showing up well this year. We're seeing a lot of good things in corn. Yes. Other good things that we're seeing, believe it or not, petunias. There is a glow-in-the-dark petunia that has popped up. Iowa State researchers have figured out how to take the bioluminescence from mushrooms, put that into the flowers, so these white petunias have a greenish glow at night after sitting in full sun during the day. I don't know if I want that in my summer flowers, or maybe I should just wait and have it for Halloween. But yes, you can in fact do this. The company is called Light Bio, and they are selling what they're calling the firefly petunias. Fireflies light up at nights, and these petunias are doing so now as well. I think they'd be kind of fun. I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
I have a question.
What's that?
Yes.
Listening to you describe that, do mushrooms glow? Is that a thing they do?
There are certain mushrooms that can, and just like there's
Magic
bioluminescence
mushrooms.
on the coral reefs down by Australia.
Why do they glow?
Because everybody needs a special skill, Addison. That's why they glow.
I remember that for future use,
How's
I guess.
that? Write that down. Keep that in your notes. So, yeah, I thought they'd be kind of neat. I'm going to ask Don Kinsler the next time we have him on if that's a recommendation that he would suggest we try looking at in our gardens up here.
We'll have to, yeah.
So we'll see if it works.
That would be fun to grow. It really would be.
Yeah, I agree. Well, as we see if we're going to be able to be joined by Mark Wagner with ND Estate Services for a little while, we will do that after we return. We're going to get a moment to catch up with a few sponsors, and when we come back, we'll finish out the rest of the hour. Folks, looking forward to our chat.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:50 in the afternoon, and our guest finally arrived. Thank you, Mark, for coming in. Mark
You're
from
welcome.
MD Estate
Thank you
Services.
for being patient.
No problem at all. Glad you can make it in.
Absolutely.
Were you out on the golf course? Is that why?
Well, actually, I was here 3 times today, and for whatever reason, I just got my wires crossed on time, and I was early. Then a little bit later with Scott, and we had lunch, and
You're busy.
And just like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you guys called me because I was actually in Fargo today. Praise God. I mean, oftentimes I'm not.
That's a good day.
Well, thank you guys so much. So.
Oh, Mark, we really appreciate it. And I had a
yeah.
question from a listener for
Okay.
you specifically. We often talk about probate, but when we are talking about all the things that you can do, can you also help write a will? If someone is looking for guidance to make sure their will is done right, can you be part of that?
Well, we certainly can. I have professionals that can do all the drafting, but I would actually take a step back and ask him why he thinks he needs a will. Wills are,
Okay.
I mean, why does he think he need a will? I mean, if he owns land or has numbered accounts, which a lot of people who do this planning, their bank accounts are big. My dad's one of them because I'm a farm kid. I know, and I don't think he's giving me a penny, but that's okay. I told Dad I got my own money. Don't worry about me. You just take care of yourself, okay? But I would say, why does he think he needs a will? Then if he says, well, I have this and I have that, well, I says, well, maybe you just don't want to have to go through that probate. I mean, in North Dakota is the regulator. I want to tell you something about the regulators in North Dakota. If you have a piece of coal and you put it up your bottom, wait 24 hours, it comes out a diamond. It's the truth. That's what they're like. We had a farmer that had a trust, and he had his vehicles listed in like personal property, and we're going to go ahead and go ahead and get the title changed. They wouldn't let him do it. It says right there in the document. All items listed on this, including automobiles, securities, this and that, goes right to the trust, and the Department of Transportation would not accept it. So if you're a customer of mine and you've been listening to me for some time, get your vehicles retitled in the name of your revocable living trust. Otherwise, your kids are going to have their hands full. That's just all there is to it. And I'm sorry to say that. I love our state. I just can't stand our government. South Dakota is totally different. If you don't put your vehicles in your trust in South Dakota, that transfer form works perfectly, and I've used it countless of times to do that for families. But if you have a title, you're gonna in North Dakota. They just won't. They won't budge. It is what it is. So.
Okay. And you deal a lot with North Dakota, with farmers, farmland, estates.
Yeah,
Can you
we
be in other
certainly
states
do. We got kind of I maybe should give a couple of examples here. I have a husband and wife that I'm helping right now, and they're not in North Dakota, and I ain't saying their name, but his wife has a job, and she doesn't really want anything to do with the farm. His boy is old enough in the 20s where he wants to get married, and they have 6,000 acres. Mom, she doesn't want to manage the farm. She just wants a rental check, right? Now, a couple things where I see the error happening, and this is from an educational standpoint, the mistake is that the dad goes ahead and makes a life estate deed to the son. When you do a life estate deed, what you're really saying is that property, after so many years, the son has ownership rights in that. And he's just getting married, and as you know, 50% of all marriages do what?
And
fail.
Or God forbid he gets in a lawsuit. I mean, so what I advise him, instead of doing something like that, that's really a cheap way to do estate planning. I mean, and he's still going to charge you 10 grand. I mean, that's just what they do. They're not fiduciaries. They look out after number one, period. And I work with 4 different firms. I know all about it. It drives me insane, but it is what it is. And we need them for drafting and that sort of thing. And we do have agreements where everything's on a simple flat fee far as the legal work. But what I'm trying to say is, instead of doing it that way, that farmer, and I educated him, I said, instead of doing that, maybe you want to consider of having your land just in your revocable living trust and have your son as the successor trustee. So when you die, your son, and if your wife outlives you, he can just give her the rental check and he can farm the land. And because it's in the trust, if you got a divorce, no one's going to take anything away from family. And it was like, and he was like, really, Mark? And I said, that's what we really should be looking at here. A little bit more. Sometimes you got to dig a little deeper to find the best gold. Amen. Yep. Oftentimes you kind of skim on the top there. You ever watch that Gold Rush show? Me and Sherry love watching that show. The flaky gold, the nuggets are in the dirt, right? You got to get your hands dirty a little bit. And by doing so, it just the situation just really called for an extra listening ear. And granted,
sure.
I wear hearing aids, don't get me wrong. Because I milk cows since I've been 5 years old, and that vacuum pump in the barn just totally gnawed off all my high frequency. And I got to the point where Sherry just waves at me. One wave means one thing, another wave means completely different deal. Yeah. And she knows what both of them mean, too. I ground more corn you ever ground corn before? And, for feed for,
yep.
It has that high-pitched squeal. Oh, my, that's deafening. Yeah. And, of course, my dad, he doesn't want to pay my hearing aid bill, but never mind. But good grief.
This might sound crazy. When you're talking about grinding corn for cattle, can you put livestock as part of that trust? I mean, can there
livestock are considered? No, you gotta listen a little bit now. Livestock, just like machinery, just like grain holdings, are all considered personal property. Mm-hmm. You can't have a corporate farm in North Dakota, so it can't be owned by a corporation per se. It's personal property, so we have to go to the elevator, because a lot of those farmers take their grain on deferred contracts. They made enough this year. If they make any more, they give it back to the government, so they take half one year and half the following year. That's just the way they do things. And at the livestock, there's actually a spot, because livestock don't have a title to it. Last time I looked, you couldn't jump on a bull and call him a name and run off to the bushes with it. You can't. He might just throw you off and try to kill you, but that's another story. But on livestock, there's a special spot in livestock there that we lift livestock, and it's considered personal property. Because I do have a farm, a rancher, and he goes, Mark, my grandson came to me and he said, Grandpa, can I have some of your cows? I get my ranch started someday. He goes, well, how many do you need? And he just gave him like 100 and some cows. Now it's going to be the job of the successor trustee then, right? To give that grandson 100 of his livestock so he can get started farming, ranching with some heifers. And that's kind of how that works there. But totally, there's a spot for that. Totally a spot for that.
Well, Mark, you always have a wealth of information. For folks to find you, where can they do that so they can get more of this wealth?
Well, today, all day, I was at the radio station.
You can find them here.
I try to be funny, and it is, but talking about death and dying, I try to make it a little bit entertaining at times. But the best way to get a hold of me is I also found out today that my website can't be found. They was pointed out today in one of those meetings we had, and whatever. Give me a call. Happy to chat. 701-318-0908. Thank you, folks, so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
having us, and God bless your listeners out there. And I just pray that we get a nice, gentle rain again.
All
we
right.
need some rain.
Well, we've got some on the way. And don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that's coming up next.